ran across this on American Update, a website, kind of, you know. All right, it's Tim Allen. And it's Tim Allen as his usual self. Mike Baxter, that is, the TV show. Take a listen. This is kind of, actually, it's funny and really fucking sad at the same time. All right, take a listen.
Do you want me to give you some notes before you send it in?
Why, send it in? What do you mean?
The faculty committee needs to approve it after they check for microaggressions.
Microaggressions? You mean like midget warriors?
No, they're objectionable words or phrases. For instance, midget warriors.
I know what microaggressions are. It's the latest liberal attack at free speech. And a lot of fun if you do them right.
The university has a list of stuff they don't allow speakers to say, you know, to protect the students.
From what, ideas?
It's just the way that my school does things, Dad. Please, my grade is riding on this.
Fine. All right. Just pretend like you introduced me to thunderous applause. Some lady faints in the front row. Ladies and gentlemen.
Okay, stop.
No, they'll pick her up. Come on, EMS. Get her out of here.
No, you can't say ladies and gentlemen because it excludes those who don't identify as either.
But those are the only two choices.
No, not anymore. You just have to keep it gender neutral. Okay, please continue.
Hey, everybody! America is the land of opportunity. I stand before you as...
Stop. Okay, by saying that America is the land of opportunity, you are implying that everyone has the same opportunities.
I'm not implying it, I'm saying it. If you live here and you work hard, you can succeed. That's how this works.
Yeah, that one's on here too. It hurts the feelings of those who work hard and don't succeed.
Where's the list of stuff that doesn't hurt people's feelings? That's got to be a short one.
You have no idea how seriously my school takes this stuff, Dad. And remember the greater good here. You're helping me scam my way to passing ethics.
This list is insane. If I go by these rules, I'll be going against everything I believe in.
I know, but just for 15 minutes. Thank you, Dad.
No. Can't call me Dad. What if I identify as Mom?
There you go. Tim Allen and the guys of Mike Baxter pretty much just kind of says it. Here's the deal. Snowflakes, you're in danger of melting. Kiss my ass. Alright, that's it. Hold on. I'll be back in a minute.
Today's Constitution Day. And
there you go. Listen up.
A few years ago I wrote an essay about Constitution Day, and I asked a question, is this a day of mourning or a day of celebration for our Constitution's under relentless assault? One of the writers online actually said the Constitution's dead. It's been shot in the face by a shotgun. It's DRT, dead right there. And he's got a point. This government is wildly outside of the Constitution, and so is every level of government all the way down to your local town council. Mr. DeWeese has already pointed out, others across the country have pointed out before, they're all outside the bounds. But when asked that question, I say no. The Constitution still lives because it still lives inside of our hearts. And all of those of us who have sworn the oath to support and defend the Constitution, whether in military service like I did, or whether the sheriffs, like the good sheriffs who are here today, or chiefs of police, we all took an oath to support and defend. And as long as we still draw breath, the Republic still lives inside of us. So that's my answer to that. But we do need to understand reality and face the reality that we are in an uphill fight, and it is so wildly outside the bounds that at any time we could have another Lexington Green. It could happen any day. And in the aftermath of Bundy Ranch, I read some analysis by so-called intelligence centers in the counterterrorism intelligence centers in Nevada was one of them, and other places across the country that apparently don't get it. Here's why you had veterans from all over the country jumping in their trucks as individuals, not just Oath Keepers and other groups. We were there too, but there were plenty of guys who all on their own just saw what was going on and grabbed their rifle, grabbed their go bag, and jumped in their truck. And why? They told us why when we were there. It was the presence of military snipers, trained Special Forces snipers, that they knew were on the other side, pointing their sniper rifles at a ranching family. That was the number one reason why they rolled out. It was because our government was treating that ranching family with less respect than they would treat someone in Iraq or Afghanistan, where they're still trying to win the hearts and minds. The attitude of the government in this case was, we don't care about winning your hearts and minds, we're going to show you who's boss. Here comes the boot on the back of your neck, and it's wearing a Special Forces foot inside that boot. That's why. And on our side, and here's the message I have for the federal law enforcement that were there, you need to understand how close you were. It was not going to be a Waco where it's going to be you, well-trained professionals, against untrained men, women, and children in a church. It was going to be you against other well-trained American fighters. There was one MARSOC Marine who was there who rolled up. No one even knew he was going to show up. He shows up. He just got out of the Marine Corps. 300 kills in Afghanistan behind a .338 Lapua sniper rifle. And he ran into a young Marine who'd driven down by himself from Oregon, who happened to have a .338 Lapua. The MARSOC Marine couldn't afford to own a privately owned .338 Lapua sniper rifle. But when the other Marine veteran found out who this guy was, he said, "This is yours. You take it. Give me your M4." They swapped rifles. So now you had a MARSOC Marine who knew what he was doing on the other side of the scope, looking at those Special Forces veteran snipers. It was going to be sheepdog on sheepdog bloodbath that day. And the why? Because those other oath takers had forgotten their oath. And they had agreed to take the money and go serve as the muscle to treat their own people like an occupied enemy nation. And it's a mirror image. You're going to get what you give. We're going to give you back what you give us. If you deploy the military against us, you will see on the other side guys just like you looking right back at you. And it's the same deal up in New York with the SAFE Act. Same message there to the police of New York. It's like, look guys, it's not the responsibility of the people to bend the knee and submit to an unconstitutional edict from Governor Cuomo and the legislature. You can't tell them, all these oath-sworn veterans, many of whom left brothers on the battlefield, you cannot tell them that in order to avoid violence here at home, you must submit. Bend the knee to the king. Bend the knee and bend your children's knees too. It's not their responsibility to avoid violence, to avoid sheepdog on sheepdog in New York. The responsibility is on the police, the sheriffs, and the deputies of New York to do what's right and refuse to obey those unlawful orders. That is the responsibility. That's the check. That's the safety valve. It's not in submission. It's in devotion and duty of you, the men who are going to be called to act against us, to do what's right and refuse. As long as you refuse, they can't do it without you. You know that. So I had the privilege of riding over here in a car with Sheriff Crepinelli and his wife and kids. Also here is Denny Pyman, an awesome sheriff from Kentucky, who came to Bundy Ranch with us. And that's another good point, as Mr. Pratt was saying earlier. You had Brad Rogers there. He came on our behalf. You had Sheriff Pyman from Kentucky. We also had Jeff Christopher from Delaware show up also. So if we're a bunch of radical, anti-government, crazy cop killers, why were there police officers standing right there with us? Because we're all in this together. It doesn't matter whether you're a cop or you're a soldier or what your status is. The Constitution is the supreme law of the land, and it's what we will always defend together. If we defend it together, we can avoid bloodshed here at home. But if we allow our police to militarize and turn into an occupying army, or we allow our military to be used here at home domestically against the people, there will be another fight. And there should be. The founders would roll over in their graves and look at us and think, you're going to submit without a fight? Of course there'll be a fight. Just as there was a fight in their day. Just as there was a fight on Iwo Jima and Normandy. We will fight if we have to.
All right. I like what he's saying. I do. I agree with him, and I like what he's saying. But, however, I think this guy is one of those, rednecks, one of those Americans who is, one, fucking delusional, okay? But, I don't mean to suggest that I don't agree with what he said so far. This was like a 10-minute talk he gave somewhere. It's on YouTube, so I'm not violating any copyright or any damn thing by playing it here. Fair use. And I'm passing the message on with you. I'm sharing this talk from this guy with you via my radio channel and YouTube channel. And you need to listen. I mean, seriously, you need to listen to him and me. Really. All right, so I'm a big-headed son of a bitch. I'm a narcissistic, blowhard? Whatever you want to call me. I don't give a fuck. I'm telling you the truth. I'm giving you an opportunity to get some information, to make your brain, more functioning like it's supposed to be functioning, like with intellect. Not just some sort of hysterical mumbo-jumbo gibberish bullshit. So I have a message for you. If you're a redneck, fuck you. If you agree that it's perfectly alright for an American soldier, a Marine, special ops, whatever, to go to a foreign country and fucking sniper people, because the guy mentioned the sniper, the sniper actually went to, Bundy Ranch, to stand on the side of the Bundys, I assume, all right, and to perhaps fight for and defend freedom and the American society, as well as, like the oath, protect and defend the Constitution. I took that oath over 40 years ago, 50 years ago almost. And although I took it seriously, even though I wasn't particularly happy about where I was and what I was doing there, I was in the draft board place where they actually draft people and force them to be soldiers, but it didn't force me because I refused to do it. Because I'm like a fucking free man and I actually have brains. And I had no intention of having my brains blown out in fucking Vietnam for no reason. Except, corporate bastards in Washington. Alright. Let's listen to the rest of this and I'll tell you something. Oh, by the way, being a sniper is not being a hero. Sorry. I think probably, you're a freaking coward and you're murdering people. A lot of those people are unarmed, innocent civilians, children, women, old men, news reporters, journalists. Oh, don't act surprised. You know they do it. We've had that news, we've had that video, we've had that information imparted to us in very plain, cold-blooded visuals. We saw them do it. They're guilty of murder. However, this guy's talking about the Bundy Ranch deal and being there. And at least they're not on the side of the fucking fascist police state motherfuckers this time. But there are other times when they are on the side of the fascist police state motherfuckers. Like when they went to Iraq and murdered people. And, they seem to be like a little bit, their brain just doesn't seem to be hitting on all 6 cylinders here. Or 4 cylinders, or 8 cylinders, or how many cylinders are in your freaking brain. You just don't participate in wars of aggression and genocidal events and follow orders that are wrong. I just said that. He said that. Following rules, following orders. You should not follow orders if those orders are wrong. You heard him. He said it the way he said it. I paraphrase. And that at the same time, the guy doesn't understand the concept of the order to go to Iraq was illegal and an act of treason, and yet, he thinks that's admirable. Oh, yeah, I'm going to go to a foreign country because my government tells me to, and I'm going to go there and fight for freedom and defend the Constitution and shit. And yet, you violated all of that by going there. So, if this guy talking, whoever the fuck he is, I don't really give a shit what his name is. I'm only interested in ideas here. You know, what I'm saying? Do you understand what I'm saying? You've got a brain. Is your brain working, like a conscious, alive, living, breathing, intelligent human being? Or are you just totally brain stupid, damn, fucking brain dead? Alright, let's play some more. By the way, snipers are not heroes. 365 kills or whatever the fuck. You murdered 365 people. Duh. Excuse me. Now, if a bad guy was doing something bad, like if you saw, like somebody raping some poor person, a girl, in an alley somewhere, and you just happen to be walking by and you see that, wait a minute, she's screaming, she's yelling, she's crying, beg, please, help me, help me, help me. He's killing me, he's raping me, whatever. And you just walk on by, you're a fucking piece of shit. Seriously. Do you want to be a sniper there? Well, for one thing, you might want to go over to where the fuck ass is raping this person and, say, fucking stop this now, or I will kill you, motherfucker. In that case, in that scenario, I can understand somebody saying, you know what? He wouldn't stop raping the girl, and he's beating her up beside the face, while he's raping her, and I think that's not right, and she obviously saying, don't let him, make him stop, and I'm standing there, and I got a full responsibility to take care of business here. I'm not calling a cop. Yeah, I'm going to pull out my 9mm and blow him away. I mean, I'll give him like 3 seconds to stop committing his crime. Might even give him the opportunity to run away with his pants down and his dick hanging out. But, not calling law enforcement, by the way, law enforcement, that Nazi word. Law enforcement, Gestapo. Don't use that phrase. If you use that phrase, then you are violating the very principles that you supposedly are standing up for. Just a heads up on that one. Alright, let's listen to the guy some more.
But if you do what's right, if you understand your oath, and if you simply respect and obey the Constitution, we don't have to go there. But don't fool yourselves. Don't listen to Southern Poverty Law and other nonsense that, we can't tell why they went down there. There's all kinds of crazy crackpot theories. No. It was snipers. It was militarized contractors looking like they just came out of Afghanistan or Iraq. And it was the violation, plain violation of the First Amendment, the big reason why guys showed up. Those ridiculous First Amendment areas where they're told you can have free speech inside this box. Of course, everybody ignored it. All the cowboys there, to their credit, ignored that nonsense. They said, we're not going to comply with that. But that ticked off a lot of veterans. And they said, what am I fighting for? What did I go and fight for? And one more message for the feds out there. I want you to take a good hard look at who showed up. I want you to think about, number one, how many Marines showed up. And I was Army Airborne, and I'm very proud of that, but I'll tell you what, you got to give credit where credit's due. The Marines showed up en masse. There were more than any other veteran group out there. It was Marine Corps at Bundy Ranch. And don't think, you feds out there, don't think that the guys who just got out are much different than the guys who are still in. They have the same mindset. And this is the politicians and your would-be dictators in Washington, D.C., this is what they're worried about. and they should be worried about it. They have to worry that if they go too hard, they drop the hammer too blatantly on Americans like a Bundy Ranch, that the Marine Corps will flip on them. And I think it would. And same goes for the close to the tip of the spear in the Army, Army Airborne, your Special Forces, your Navy SEALs, all those groups out there. The more hardcore they are as warriors, the more likely they are to look at something like that and say, that's it, I'm done, and join the resistance. And so that's why they are careful about what they do. It's not out of charity or concern for your lives that they don't drop the hammer. As we found out later on, they were actually considering a military strike at Bundy Ranch. Can you believe that? Washington Times reported it. They were considering using military force at Bundy Ranch. Thankfully, they did not. Because if they had, that would have kicked off a civil war in this country. It would have. We don't want that. But the way to avoid it, once again, is for those who are in the positions of enforcement, whether federal, state, whether they are in the military, they must refuse to be the muscle for idiots like Cuomo or Obama or Holder who don't understand warfare. Do not open the door on U.S. soil to sheepdog and sheepdog violence. Don't do it. Thank you.
All right. You heard it. Now, see, I'm torn between, yeah, that's right, and what a bunch of hypocrites. And in this case, this guy, I think, is a hypocrite. I think you would call him an idiot. Well, you know, you're not supposed to say that, I guess, on the internet. Not allowed to call people idiots. You know, politically correct. Don't call people idiots. It's not nice, you know. Fuck you people. But the day I give up my ability and my right to judge people for what they are, based on the evidence, of course, I'm not just going to make shit up and just assume stuff out of thin air. I'm going to take the evidence, their own words, their own attitudes. You know, the guy mentioned, like, oh, you know, the Army, the military, American military guy, we took an oath and we're going to go to foreign countries and, murder people. Because, our fascist police state motherfuckers freaking in D.C. and local governments, state governments, oh, we're telling you go and fight for freedom in Iraq. The same bullshit they told me when it was like, oh, my turn to go in the military and go to Vietnam and fight for what? It sure wasn't my freedom. It sure wasn't your freedom, if you're an American. I've been watching and studying and reading, kind of catching up on some history of humanity or inhumanity. How many people died during World War II? How many people were murdered during World War II? Millions! Here's a case of you've got to take some sort of moral concept and weigh it against the immoral concept of war and murder and destruction. The man's talking about taking an oath to protect and defend the Constitution and then turn around and like, oh, I'm going to go to Iraq and violate that Constitution, which says you don't go to foreign countries, it's against the law. I mean, go and murder people there. And that's what they did. So you see, I have a problem. The problem is, Americans, yay, America, free country and shit. And, well, it's not. And, yay, America, love it or leave it, and all that shit. Excuse me. Don't break the law. Don't obey orders that are obviously illegal and immoral and a violation of your oath. How are you defending the Constitution of the United States of America? That means for the government, because I know what words mean. How is that? Defending the Constitution, foreign and domestic, by going to a foreign country in violation of the law of the land of the world, a war of aggression, empirical wars, colonialism, power, barbaric motherfuckers. We're going to go to a foreign country and fight for your freedom. And you know what? There ain't been a man, woman, there hasn't been an army, military, marine, any time in the history of America back about, for about 200 years that has gone to any foreign country and fought for my freedom, or your freedom, or anybody's freedom. And if you don't get that, you're fucking brain dead. Hasn't happened. Doesn't happen. Ain't true. Ain't fucking true. And if you can't figure that out, sorry, I can't talk to you because you got your head, which contains your ears, it's shoved up your ass, and you can't hear shit. Obviously. Is that a rant? Yeah, I'm ranting. Yeah, why? Because you people are fucking stupid. I mean, you have it right, and then you go and say something totally wrong, totally stupid. Make yourself hypocrites. You know what? I think being a hypocrite is right up there towards the top of the list of despicable people. Because you should know better. You shouldn't be like that stupid. I mean, if you're really that stupid, please don't go anywhere near a gun. Oh, by the way, Second Amendment is my gun permit. Fuck you asshole Nazi bastards. Socialists and tyrants and bullies, government, pissant motherfuckers. So I'm saying, and the guy has got it right, but he's got it wrong. Because his personal beliefs are based on a lie or a hypocrisy. What is a sniper? A sniper is a hired hitman. Hired and ordered by his boss, his master, to go over there and murder people from rooftops and shit. And if you haven't seen the video, the WikiLeaks released a video a time ago about these American military, United States military. American doesn't have whatever. I think you people have, someone should just slap the fucking shit out of you people. You morons, you idiots who believe this shit, who go along with this fucking lunacy. Seriously. Someone should just slap the fucking shit out of you. Because you're fucking stupid and an idiot and a moron and an imbecile and all those other clinically correct words to use because they mean what they mean. I can't use those words anymore. We got to say something else because that's not politically correct. Kiss my ass. You know what politically correct is? What is it? What's the word? Snowflake. I got another word for it, and it's not as nice. Believe me. Let's be politically correct by calling the people that want to be politically correct, let's call them snowflakes. You can't call us that, it hurts our feelings. Yeah, fuck you. At any rate, you heard what the man said, and I agree with the fact that you shouldn't be allowing the government to do shit that is wrong and illegal and unconstitutional. And but people do it every day. How many troops went to Afghanistan? How many troops went to Iraq? How many troops are? How many drone drivers are there that are dropping bombs and murdering innocent people in Pakistan and stuff? You can't have it both ways, people. You're either right or you're wrong. You either got it or you don't got it. You either understand or you're an imbecile. If you go to a foreign country, the law says you can't do that, and certainly can't do it and get away with it. Well, in America you can, because America doesn't follow the law. The government doesn't, and most of the people in this country don't either, because they're like idiots and fell for the stupid shit. The majority of Americans have been manipulated, indoctrinated, conditioned, brainwashed. You know, mindless zombie drones. Oh, America, love or leave it. You know what? Boggles the mind how any human being with a functioning brain, obviously their brain's not working right, because they would see the hypocrisy in what they say. American supports the troops. They went to Afghanistan, fought for our freedom. Da-da! And you know, anybody that is conscious, you know, hasn't been like living in a coma for the past 15, 17, 16 years or so, you'd have to be brain dead not to understand what's going on here. Seriously. I'll be back in a minute. Alright. So I just want you to understand. I want you to understand, but you're not going to, because you're not trying. I mean, if you're listening to this and you're like, well, probably because you're listening to this, it's probably because you agree with what I'm telling you. You know, that seems to be the trend. Let's listen to things that we agree with, and let's not listen to things that we don't agree with, because, you know, we don't want to hear the truth. It will mess with our delusions. It'll actually force us to be real and think logically. You know, I've actually had people tell me, I'm not going to think logically, I'm going to follow my faith. Seriously, people. Alright, I'm not going to believe the truth, and I'm not going to listen to you tell me the truth. I'm going to continue to believe Christian stupid shit, for example. How pathetic. How utterly pathetic. It's, like I said, it boggles the mind. So, basically, what you have is, you have people that, and this is something that puzzles me. I don't get it, because I'm like, not like that. I don't think that way. It would be impossible for me to think that way. My brain isn't wired to think that way. Like, for example, you say, oh, I love my country. Let's make America great again. Yeah. And yet, here's the problem. People say a lot of stuff, and a lot of people say good stuff. They say it is correct, right, it is good, it is exactly right. It's like, I believe in this, I believe in this, I believe in this, and then, you know, after about 6 or 7 things that they say that are true, or real, or they should believe in, and then, bingo, they say something stupid. You know, right, wrong. And it kind of destroys the credibility of all the other things they said before that. I can think of a lot of examples. Lots of them. Because they do it every day. Somebody, somewhere, does it. I'm talking about government criminals. For example, Rand Paul, just a name dropper. Rand Paul says some good stuff, like small government, get the government out of our business, obey the Constitution. Okay? Good. And then, boom! Ron Paul says, Rand Paul, don't want to confuse the two. Ron Paul's the good one in the family. Rand Paul is a tyrant and a bully. And it's clear. It's not even a question here. It's just true. So Rand Paul said, yeah, we got to do this, we got to do this. Good stuff, good stuff, good stuff. And then, boom, stupid shit. You know? Like, oh, I believe in freedom. And, you know, I support the Second Amendment, and I support, well, I'm sorry. If you're a politician, you don't have to support it. You just have to obey it. And if you don't, you're a traitor. And, you know, in my view, if you commit a treason against the people of America, you don't have any rights. You give them up by being a fucking tyrant and a bully and a fascist. I mean, once you commit a crime against humanity, you're done. You know, you should make like Hitler and, you know, put a bullet somewhere in your head, perhaps, for example, because you committed treason and atrocities against humanity. And, oh, I'm writing a book. Yeah, I'm always writing a book. I got a lot of books. My personal work style is a little bit casual, if you know what I mean. Wink, wink. Because I got them going. They're on the table. They're on the board. They're being... They're done. I mean, they're being done. I'm doing them. One, you know, but I'm spread a little thin because I'm like writing like 50 different books at the same time. It's kind of like not very progressive. Not very disciplined of me to do that. Oh, you might say, oh, you got short attention span. No, I'm still paying attention to everything. I'm just only working on one thing at a time, and I just happen to want to work on this thing today. So anyway, a new book project, well, I'm enthusiastic about it, and it's going to take me a while. I'm guessing probably maybe a year to write this book. And I'm going to have to write that book while I'm doing everything else, because I can't just stop doing everything and do one thing at a time. For a year, call me crazy, but I just think that everything's important. And of course you have to be selective, you have to focus, you have to pay attention to what you're doing and do a good job of that thing. But there's so many things to write about that I could just start writing now and write 24 hours a day for the next 50 years and not cover everything. So at any rate, the thing about, you know, Rand Paul, and he says, oh, you know, freedom, and the Constitution, and blah, 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 blah. And then he wants the government to force all the American people to live like Rand Paul wants them to live. You know, like a fucking ignorant, stupid, moronic Christian person. So here's the thing. Good, and then bingo. I'm a hypocrite, and I'm a bully. I want the government to tell everybody they can't have an abortion. I want it to be illegal. I want it to be banned. I mean, that's just, to be honest with you, it's depressing. And it's outrageous. Believe in freedom, but in that case, no. You don't have that right. You can't exercise that freedom. Even though the Supreme Court settled this issue a long time ago, like about what, 45 years ago? Abortion is a legal thing. It is a medical procedure. If you don't like, if you think there's something wrong with having an abortion, don't have one. Period. Case closed, end of story. And if you want to tell other people what you think about abortion, that's fine. Free speech, duh. I'm not going to be a hypocrite here. But if you believe in freedom, you don't believe and you don't support and you don't work towards establishing a ban on abortion. It's just anti-nature, anti-freedom, and anti-constitution. And by the way, the Constitution is for the government, not for us. We don't need it. We got our inalienable rights. We don't need the Constitution to tell us what we can and cannot do. We already know that. It's called unalienable human rights. Shall we say natural law. So the point is, Ron Paul, in his entire time as well, I'm talking about Daddy Rand Paul now. Daddy Paul, Ron Paul. And I've listened to him, I've read his books and so on, and I agree with him. I think he makes good sense. He's very logical, very rational. It is A number one plus. And let's be practical. Ron Paul was in government for how long? 40 years or so? What did he do? Did he get one law passed repealing any unconstitutional laws? Not any. Did he just do anything that accomplished anything? I mean, standing up for freedom and standing up for the Constitution and standing up for what's right is fine. But if you don't do anything, then I'm going to say it, you just failed. You wasted 40 years of your life, dude. Rand Paul, I'm going to run for president. Okay, fine. You're going to have to drop the anti-constitutional attitude if you want to be president of the United States. Because if you were elected, we'd have to repeal you. I mean, abort you. Legally, in one way or the other. I'm not talking about killing anybody here. I don't believe in killing people. I think it's disgusting. So here's the thing I want you to think about. If you're going to be in favor of this, freedom, then don't say something anti-freedom in the course of saying what you're in favor of that is pro-freedom. If you believe in freedom, you don't want the government to tell people what to do. You just don't. They're two different concepts, two different ways of thinking. I want people to be free to do what they want, as long as they don't violate any other human being, living, breathing human being's rights. Which does not include a fetus, which is not a living, breathing human being, yet. And you don't tell people, oh, I believe in freedom, but I also believe the government should keep you a slave. Just stupid shit, actually. A little common sense here, people. Now, who could fathom the mind of a politician? So, like trying to understand, a psychopath. I mean, you could do it, but if you don't have the skills to figure out who is and who isn't a psychopath, then you're just muddying the water. You're just wasting time. You're just interfering with the process of actually fixing things that need to be fixed. And one of the things that needs to be fixed is stop saying stupid shit along with your good shit, because it just makes your credibility like zero. So, Rand Paul, sorry. You're a hypocrite. And you know what? I think hypocrites should be shunned. That's the simplest. That's the minimum. All right, I'm going to let you go. This is Archer Monologues, D. McClung here. And try and have a good day. Yeah, just try. Hopefully you don't get droned or suicided by the fucking government. Catch you later.